I needed to mute myself on the video.
Yeah. Also, I switched over and your webcam's not responding. Interesting. Let's see here. Here, I'll redo it. Go ahead and redo it on your end and send me a new link. They're like, that's very freeze frame. Sorry. Yep. We're gonna fix that real quick. He'll send me a new link. Look at me being a good spirit player. I'm doing morning prayers while streaming. But I can see it. I'm watching OBS, and so OBS is streaming my client, so I can see my client through OBS. All right, we're gonna get him in here. Just a second. There he is. I'm gonna make it a little bigger here and put it in his box. Put him in the box. God. Yep. I totally messed that one up. Good grief. Okay. Well, that's good enough, I think. All right. So, can everybody hear both of us? Testing. Actually, I need to turn system sounds up so they can hear you better.
Oh yeah, that's what we figured out. What happened last time?
Yep. They want you to keep talking a bit. Okay. I think they can hear you now. Yep. Okay, cool. Well, welcome everyone to this first show. Not going to be too formal here like we were at the podcast. This is just whatever the hell we want to do. And yeah, I'm Andrew. You know my character name, obviously, and this is Steve. Obviously, you know his character name. But yeah, man. I think when we decided to do this, you told me you wanted to talk a little bit about what it's like being a returning player after a long time, and what you'd like to see the game go to and stuff like that. So you can talk a little bit about that if you want.
I mean, after taking a 10-year break, I mean, I didn't really expect to come back into Aetolia.
Right.
I mean, but it's something that I've been playing since I was 16. I was, I think, a freshman in high school. I met some buddies in the computer lab, and kind of got hooked from day one. And I mean, over that 10-year break, there's been so many different changes to Aetolia. So the quality of life is vastly improved, like in terms of all these new like the daily milestones, like daily credits or whatever, is like something that was completely unheard of, back in the day. So I mean, if you wanted to be on par with PvP or whatever, like you had to grind the gold to spend on the credits for that.
Oh yeah.
So, and it was pretty common to to not have people that were 145% of your might and have all 8 skill sets trans and all this. It was like you had everybody was like pretty much the min max like king and queens. So
yeah, back when like there weren't as many people that were even level 100, and now you can get level 100 in like 24 hours or less.
Yeah. So I think the biggest struggle for me, like as a returning player after like such a long period of time, was there's so much lore that's like so many events that have gone on like in that 10-year span, and apparently there was like a huge chunk of it where like it got really big with like the Albady gods and all that shit. So from it from an in character perspective, Saran doesn't really know anything like during that time period other than what he's like just sort of kind of read in like books here and there. But I mean, if somebody was to ask me like, tell me about the War of Night, I'd be like, well, I have no idea.
Yep. Our friend Techta in chat said that you came back because you want more mud sex.
Yeah.
Naturally.
That's it. That was the whole reason.
Yep. Yeah, it's been something. I came back. I mean, I've told this story on the podcast, but I don't know how many people listen to it. But basically, I came back because I had like a health scare in late 2019, and I was like, I really miss playing Aetolia, and I'm tired of being mad at it for stupid things. So I'm just gonna give it another shot, and here I am now. And yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are the same in that we'd really like to see the game continue to improve and like narratively have a continuation. I feel like we haven't really seen, like, I really feel like we probably should have seen more of Albados by now. Obviously, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them do that. I'm still holding out hope that we're gonna get mining someday. And yeah.
I'm not even sure like what mining was supposed to fix because I hate all like crafting professions like with a passion. Like doesn't matter what game it is. Like I just will refuse to do it. So
yeah, it's well, mining was supposed to fix the commodity system in particular. Like Tier's idea, as I understand it, was that there was going to be 3 agriculture skills, and mining was the first one, and all 3 would be able to generate commodities. That way we don't have to rely on the NPC commodity shops and stuff.
Oh, so from like a city leader perspective, because I think Izia mentioned to me that she had to like trade like obsidian for steel or something for Anorian.
Yeah,
is that what she was referencing?
Yeah, because what it is it's been so long since they've announced this is what they want to do, and then like we probably realistically should have had all 3 skills by now, but we don't. So as like a stopgap, they will let you go and ask basically, like I believe it was Rosmael that you basically the city leader will message him and be like, I want to trade this for this or whatever. Yeah, Kay has had mining for years, although I think it's vastly different than what we're supposed to have. But yes, commodity shops have always been awful on all the games. Honestly, I remember hating them on Empyrean too.
Yeah. So what are the other two? Because I remember that when I came back,
farming.
That I think one of the Selene, Kaina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she. Oh, you're still there. Okay, you lagged for a second. It's all good.
My webcam's weird.
Yeah, it's okay. What it was is that farming was the first agriculture skill, and then mining's supposed to be the second, and then there's a third one that we don't know what it is yet. Yeah, profit. Profit is the name of the third one.
Yep. Not to be confused with the Achaea character.
Yep. But yeah, like there's a lot. I think that they definitely have their work cut out for them in general, and I do not envy them. It probably is kind of harder than ever to keep this going, to be honest, because like there's so much stuff we all want, and there's probably a million things they want to do, and there's things on top of that they need to do, and it's a lot, I'm sure. But from a player standpoint, I'd really like to see where the story is going to go finally, and I'd like to have something to spend all my golden credits on that I've continued to save up and whatnot.
Right. I mean, I've kind of got the feeling that like big global events are kind of like I don't know, random little cutscenes rather than like the whole. It should be like player interaction and storyline. You know, like player driven stuff should be those cutscenes between those big. You know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
there should be more emphasis on like a big global story. Because I mean, like I don't know, like I don't have any problem coming up with RP or drama or whatever, like just for myself. But in terms of like all this global stuff going on, it seems like it's going at like a very like slow snail's pace,
Yeah.
So like, which is fine. I mean, I get that the pools they're doing other things,
Yeah.
but
They're probably
like
doing a bazillion other things is the thing,
right, yeah. So
Yep. A cutscene. Yeah. There's definitely been an obvious shift in like how they do story and stuff. And that could be good or bad depending on the person. So all right. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, my morning prayers are over, guys. I guess I should go back to my shop and idle there, huh? Let's see. Yep.
mm,
I also think it's pretty hard to plan around the breadth of player responses to an event in real time. And Steve says, "What do you mean?" And I think your webcam your webcam lagged for a second. It's back now.
yeah, it's good.
When I say the things, and obviously me and Steve can both see chat and stuff, but I'm going to like try to say some of the questions or comments so that like when we have like if I decide to make this into an audio only podcast thing, people will know what we're responding to. Poor Dee Dee. No prayer for you without a card.
Let's see.
All right. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah, okay, I could see that.
some of it's definitely intended to be fairly linear. I think people underestimate how hard it is to track 20 different people trying to do things. DMing for even more than 6 people can be a nightmare. I agree with that because I actually
Yeah,
used to DM D&D, and I would have to try and do it for 7 people because the 7 people didn't want to do it without the other people. There was like a few couples there, that sort of thing. And I always told them, man, this would be a lot easier if it was 3 or 4 people, not 7. And yeah, you take and dial that up to 800 on Aetolia, like fucking 20 of us standing there at an event and stuff like that.
yeah. Well, I mean, my biggest gripe with some of these events, like especially including or involving this shady man, which I'm assuming was like a Sisson event with that whole new Den of Shadows or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was like a couple Templar people, or maybe just one Templar person who will remain nameless. Uh, didn't
Wasn't me.
like it was as soon as the mob got possessed, like they just immediately wanted to run in and just start swinging,
Oh
which
boy.
like I personally hated. So I'm gonna go off on like a little story here that I think I've told a couple times, but for the people that I have or that haven't heard this, so when I was a Selene, like my event that I had to do was like way back when the Drakenmon or Dracathi army like
Mm-hmm.
first invaded, and he had excuse me, what's his name, Polmarch, and also or whatever was coming out of Sedive or whatever, and so my event was that there were some bandits in the Morgan Forest who got a hold of these Lem orbs, and were using them for whatever nefarious purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to run these events by Gallius. And like, I love Eric.
Yeah.
He was a great guy. But he was spinning a lot of plates.
Yes.
And so you had to run all your Solani events by him. And I was like, hey, this is what I plan to do. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, cool. Sounds good. Like, get it done. I'm like, all right, cool. So then I can't remember what god it was, but one of the other gods was like, watching me invisible, like while I was doing my event or whatever. And I had this bandit leader named like Crumb or something like that. And I like had this whole storyline set up, and then like, did my world shout, with my little NPC, and then Alexina comes in and like just literally just one shots my mob. And I'm like, bro, what? So now I'm trying to like scramble to like, to salvage this thing. So now I was like, okay, like in my little thing, I like revived my dude, and I, changed his name real quick, and I'm like, all right, he's gonna be, Drum, the Bandit King's like brother or some shit. It was fucking stupid. So, and yeah, so that was basically my event. So I personally am not a fan of, players when they just come in swinging. Like, it's just, I put a lot of work into my event, and apparently I should have beefed up the health a little bit.
Right.
But
or at least made it invincible until you were ready for it to die.
Right. Yeah. So, but hey, you live, you learn. So.
Yeah. Especially your first event as a Solani. Like, disclaimer here. Me and Steve talked about this a little bit off camera before we mentioned it. But me and Steve here actually met back then when we were both Solani. That was the first time we had met, and I think he was. You were already playing a god when I started volunteering, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Or at least close to it, or whatever. Because I remember specifically which one you ended up playing. Not that, we need to mention which gods we played back then. But yeah, I remember, and at this point, after so many years of Aetolia, a ton of us that have played forever have volunteered. I mean, it's not like a big deal, but I think that if you're somebody out there who's never volunteered and you have the chance, I think you should try for it, because it's definitely like a different way to see the game, and it really kind of changes your perspective on the way things work and stuff. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing stuff. One of the things that I did back then later got turned into a meme on that wiki that existed. If you remember the wiki, the Aetolia wiki. But I was the one who made the caravan back then. The shout caravan thing that people memed about. That was a really hard one to make, because I had to figure out how to make it autopath back when that was not exactly the easiest thing to do and stuff like that. That was fun. That's your fault? Yes. I made the caravan back then. And I think it dropped like 5,000 gold when you did it or something like that. Terrible. Listen, just like him, I had a first event. I did all right. I did other things that were cool too that I don't need to talk about, but yeah, volunteering was fun back then, and we did a lot of work back then, on the Albedos stuff, because that was like that era. And again, I know that I personally, and you probably did too, built some areas in Albedos that still haven't even been released.
I don't know I think all of my areas did, because I know I did for sure did the military yards of Delve. That was pretty much me.
I remember when we were running around in Delve back then, like piecing out who got to build what and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of like, and they've confirmed this. This is like public knowledge, but there's like still a lot of Albedos that's sitting there and hasn't been released yet. And to think that that's been as long as it has and we haven't seen it yet is kind of weird to me. Especially when you consider sometimes there's talk about like, oh, like there's too many rooms in the game, too many areas. We can't do X, Y, and Z. We can't instance things. We can't do this because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm just thinking like, there's a million areas you're not even using yet. Either use them or get rid of them.
Right. I mean, I guess it's kind of a good thing that they kind of have these areas already set up, like sort of not so much as like a contingency, but when they, when they do plan to do events around them, they at least already have that groundwork already laid. You
Right.
know.
That's true. That'll be really useful. But, you know, let's see what we got going in chat here. There's a lot of people talking. A lot of you guys talking. I like it. Yeah. Yeah, Chaos
I
Switch, I agree.
guess.
I guess that's my point while trying to be nice about it.
Oh yeah. Yep. Definitely agree to that. I guess the one of the things that I was so uh, I don't know, a little confused about when I came back was that, now you have this whole, Albeidi pantheon, who
Mm-hmm.
basically they're vastly more powerful than the Sapiens gods because, like, they don't need essence. Like, you just got to believe in them, I guess. And
Yeah.
that's how they get their
They
power.
sustain off of worship instead of essence.
Right. Which, uh, and like I heard there was also talk of like, cults that you could join, but apparently that was never a thing. And I was like, damn, like I would totally love to join an Albany God cult.
Right.
But and then, you saw how that all that went down with I think it was Lynn with
Yep.
the
Who I believe is Lord Earthcrusher in chat.
yeah, and it was something to do with like Hava or something, some like relatively neutral Albedos god, and like just
Yep.
everybody just lost their fucking mind over it. So
Yep. And I know Hava was involved, I think, in the one of the last big events that I went to right around when I made my character while you were gone. There was the big Bamathis event with Skythrone and all that. And I think Bamathis like tried to kill Hava or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it was kind of cool. That was the last time I remember even seeing like anything about an Albeidi god.
hmm.
But
I mean, I think it's pretty telling that, if the pools were trying to kind of test the waters to see how the player base would react, if there was like, people involved in a more neutral, Abadi god like cult,
mm,
and the player base just basically just, I mean, I want to say that Lynn got removed from Durin and Omi's order, maybe. Uh, so not great, especially if, and historically you can't keeping people like people's membership a secret in terms of like divine orders and orgs has never worked out. I mean,
right.
except for maybe Severns, because I want to say that unless you were the order head, you didn't have access to Ohu. So I don't think congregations were a thing back then either. So
Check out our baller congregation here that I'm in. Look at all those members. We're living the dream. It's awesome. But that's just the way things go. People, I don't know. I think that it's weird gods and orders and things because like on one hand, I love that we have gods, and I've talked about this on Discord a few weeks ago. Like I am very grateful that we still have gods, unlike Empyrean, who killed them off. Because I think that was literally killed that game. Like that was there was a lot of bad decisions in Empyrean, but that was kind of like the break point for when it started going downhill on that game. But I think at the same time, like there's a lot of antiquated stuff about orders and congregations that could be improved upon in Aetolia. Like,
oh yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, and then I guess it's kind of like a continuing cycle that uh, you have these like new Solani that go up. They do their Solani event. They get a god shell, and that god is super active for like a couple months, and then
yeah,
just nothing. And everybody tries to kind of like take that god shell and kind of make it their own,
yeah,
which is great. But then you have so many different, iterations of this god that they're like, oh, today I want to have this direction, and then the next Selene call they want to go a completely different direction.
yeah,
So it's very hard for players, I think, to kind of like to keep in, uh, I don't know, to kind of like zero in on exactly like what their god is supposed to be like. And I get that gods can be I don't know. I mean, if you look at like the Greek gods, they're like very fickle and kind of always, doing basically whatever they want because they have, over 9,000 power. But I guess like the only god that's kind of sort of like been like consistent is probably Omi.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, apparently she's been doing the role for like a while.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, she's done great. So after I stepped down from that role, 10 plus years ago. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, like we talked about earlier, I didn't know if you wanted to mention which one you'd play, but yeah, Steve had played.
I don't care. I didn't sign an NDA back then, so I can pretty much say whatever I want.
Well, I don't think they're going to care about our NDAs from like 15 years ago or whatever it is at this point.
They might.
Well, maybe, but in any case, Steve used to play Ome, and I for about 3 or 4 months I think played Heron for a little while, and my experience with it was that like. Honestly, like back then, for whatever reason, I wanted to play a male god, and Heron was the only male god available at the time, so I picked him without knowing much of anything about him, or I don't even know how we pronounce Duran
is how I pronounce it.
Yeah,
Duran.
I didn't know much about them either because before then I was a shadow player, so. But the thing is that there are ways to create notes. It's just that like they, at least back then, they never pushed it a whole lot. And in my case, the previous Heron was still like volunteering with us at the time, and then they like let me play it instead of that person. But that person was not very helpful. If you recall who that person was, I don't need to say their name.
I don't remember.
I'll type it to you in DM just so you can relate.
Oh, okay. So it'll probably be some old B name that I haven't thought of in hell of years. Yeah. Okay.
So I can definitely relate because like it's just so hard to be like, okay, so like you have all these people in your order when you take this god role, and they all have these conversations they've had with you, and you have no idea about any of them. And if there's no notes, then you have no idea about any of them. And then there's this weird like disconnect where you have to try and figure out why that is in character. But yeah, Lynn, that was me. I never saw that picture. I never saw the meme. But yeah, back when me and Steve here volunteered and I played Heron, that was me because that year at the God Meet, the only people to go from Aetolia were me and Gallius. And it happened to be my birthday while I was out there. Hey man, I never saw the picture and I never heard much. I mean, I heard that like I figured people were gonna mess with me when they took the picture of the video, but I didn't really care.
Birthday cake. I don't know that. I don't remember that.
I don't really care about it, honestly. Like, that's kind of cool. Like that you even remember that. To be honest, that's cool. But I had a lot of fun at that God Meet. Because I also, at the same time, was playing Empyrean, and I was a long-time player on Empyrean, and I got to meet the producer of Empyrean, and me and him in the game never really got along very well. But then in person, we were playing like Settlers of Catan and getting along pretty well. And that was cool. See you, Riot. Thanks for coming.
Oh, is that how you pronounce his name?
That's how I pronounce his name.
Oh, I've been calling him Riot.
Riot?
Yeah.
Well, I figured since his first name pre-200 was like a play on a real word, that his post-200 name was a play on a word too, so I just pronounce it Riot.
That makes sense, actually. So.
Riot Games in Aetolia.
Riot. Interesting. So, okay, so now that we have a Bamothus, now I wasn't around for any of that. I don't know, the last Bamothus. So Srain has never met him, in person up until recently, and never like directly. Just he showed up and tries to recruit. Now my only gripe is that he.
Oh hey, look, it's Bamothus in the game now too. Oh, maybe they're watching us. Continue.
is
Sorry.
oh yeah, I did just see that right now. Is that he apparently is supposed to like defend Sapience or from the
Hmm.
Albedos gods, and he's been causing a ruckus in Enorian and Durin. Like
Right.
he's talked to Catria about wanting worship of him to to not be banned in Durin or whatever, and he's shown up in
Hmm.
the Templars too, and even crashed Iastia's knighting,
Oh,
and
I
it's
wasn't there for
like
that.
yeah,
That's cool.
and it's like so he really wants to like recruit, but he's kind of being a dick about it. Like he's not charming at all. Like he's not swaying anybody. Like he's not even like a lovable asshole. He's
Right.
just kind of just going in there and just like
Photo bombing, basically.
yeah, basically like, hey, what's up? You guys need to come, come worship me because I said so. But, okay, like, fuck off.
Yeah. Thanks for the follow, Lynn. Yeah, like my experience, because like I think it's kind of public knowledge on the forums and stuff as to who played the last Bamathis. He was pretty. Thanks for the follow again, Chaos Squid. Who he was, but when I was playing Shadow years ago, he was someone that was on the opposite side, and he rolled around a lot with Rashar back then, and I never got along very well with his player. But then, like this time around, like I did, he was pretty cool. But like the way he played Bamathis, and maybe this was intentional, but he was just very boisterous and loud. Like I know this is the perspective of somebody that's on Spirit and not in his order, but like it seemed like a lot of his role play was done through shouts, and I just found that personally to be very cheesy, especially when I was like, okay, I want to role play with Bamathis, so I'm gonna be nice and send him a letter, and then his response to the letter is to shout. It's like it was kind of weird, but the character's very weird because like he's supposed to be kind of this like uniting force, but he's
Right.
also strictly Shadow. So
Well, I mean, I think that the impression that I got was that he's Shadow because, he feels that, he's, the morality of Spirit kind of limits, him being able to execute the purpose that he was created for, which I
right,
thought was kind of cool. And I mean, like when I came back, I mean, that was definitely like a god that, that I was looking to follow, even if
oh
it was
yeah,
under the radar. Uh, but yeah, that ended up not being a thing.
yeah.
So
Before you came back and before Dristan switched sides again and was in Templars, he was following Bamathis and that sort of thing. I believe was my understanding. I think that's like common knowledge. If not, I'm sorry, but yeah, and like there, like I've told this story in character a few times, but for people that don't talk to me in character, I will say that like I sent that letter to Bamathis back then, and then people were giving me crap about it. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna get Anorian in trouble," because I was like a herald at the time, and eventually my task in Ethne's order was to apologize and receive a task from Bamathis, right? So yeah, so I'm like, okay, I will do that because like I think Ethne at the time thought that I would have a hard time doing that or whatever, but I was like, I'll do that, but you have to come with me, and she agreed to that. And so I had this like personal RP where I was literally transported to the war room of Bamathis, and then like it was me, Bamathis, and Ethne doing this like role play, and it was really intense. Like like your character's standing there with two gods, like it's kind of a little intense, but Spirit Players RP. That was a joke. Don't get mad at me. It's okay. We do sometimes. My role play is to go do morning prayers all the time, because I'm very pious. But anyway, and the moral of the story is the task that Bamathis tried to give my character was to convince Anorian, because I was a herald at the time, to create an alcove to him in the Temple of the Gods.
okay.
Right? And thankfully, because I was already thinking, I was like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? And then I was like, I probably won't do this. I'll just like fail this or whatever. And then Ethne was like, that's not an acceptable task.
Yeah, I mean,
So
because then you'd have to like go into I don't know, development And I mean, I don't know how much new rooms cost. Wow, that seems silly to kind of like demand something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they'd hashed it out ahead of time, like the role play between the two
Right.
volunteers, but I thought it was a very fascinating moment. It was a very cool moment. It was one of my favorite moments uh, with Ben Mathis and Ethne and stuff. Um, but yeah, I think it's great that Ben Mathis is back. Maybe that will also signify that we're going to try to move the story along overall. So
Maybe. I mean, we had a couple like rumblings of stuff in Dara's order about a month ago, and then nothing really ever sort of came of that. So
mm,
it's just seems like it's like a hurry up and wait type deal. So
gotcha. Yep. Also, just so everyone knows, I don't know how big everyone's knowledge of Twitch is, but I think we're gonna try to eventually get affiliate on this account. And one of the things you have to do to get affiliate is to get 50 followers. So if people want to follow, that would help. Thanks, Steve. I didn't mean you specifically, but thanks.
So
Yeah. It's probably gonna be a bit of a slow grind, but I'm okay with it. Because like what I'd like to do, and this is kind of unrelated to what we've been talking about, but it relates to the show if people are gonna keep watching it and stuff, is that what I'd like to do is start being able to give out credits all the time, like do credit giveaways all the time, or maybe a couple times a month, and kind of sustain that with subscriptions on Twitch or donations or whatever. That way I don't have to keep giving my own credits away. Shouting is the only appropriate form of RP. Well, you know, that's in the immortal words of the Big Lebowski. That's like, your opinion, man. It's also the form of roleplay that I see a lot of Karn effects do.
oh yeah.
I think that's like probably in their guild rules that if you want to interact with someone, you have to shout.
Yep, pretty much.
The Carnifex, and I'm not even trying to be mean by saying this, but like it legitimately reminds me of like, I don't know, Steve, if you've ever played. Have you ever played Warhammer 40K or any kind of Warhammer type stuff?
I played the Warhammer Fantasy with the Vermintide series, so I know like a little bit about
Gotcha.
Warhammer.
Well, Carnifex, the way they act and stuff, sometimes reminds me of the orcs from Warhammer. Like just the way they
Oh
talk and shout, and even like the thing that you said was originally your idea, the Herogue or whatever it is. Even that
yeah.
reminds me of WoG or whatever from Warhammer.
I don't even want to get started on
that. Fair enough.
I'm still super sore.
Yeah, I saw that on the forums. I didn't comment, but I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that that you think that the Carnifex are like the orcs, because when I first came back and joined the Templar, I think Benedicto had told me that that to kind of imagine the Templar as being like Space Marines.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
So
the Blue Boy Scouts or whatever.
yeah.
Not only are they probably Space Marines, but they're probably Ultramarine, like the blue, boring, vanilla Ultramarines.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say we're boring, but that's just what I mean. Like, I feel like Ultramarines are kind of boring, but they're just like standard GI Space Marine or whatever. What was Benny smoking? Well, I don't know. He's British, so it could be anything. I thought about playing a fun game with him. I think about a lot of random shit when I'm out doing DoorDash and sitting in my car by myself. And one thing I was thinking about, I was like, it'd be kind of fun because, like, I don't know too many British people like Benedicto. It would be fun if, like, we played a game in web with him one time where we're like, hey, Benedicto, guess my favorite British band. See if he can guess it. For me, it would definitely
be a lot more British bands than I don't know. There's a lot of like big British bands.
Yeah, but he's also like a music guy himself, so it'd be kind of a fun game. Ask him to say water bottle. Oh God.
Or Tuesday.
We're just messing with Benedicto. Please don't, don't take offense. There's only 4 British bands. Yeah.
Touched a nerve there.
Yep. Oh man.
Let's see. I'm trying to think what else has happened this week. Oh, that new stone change.
Oh yeah,
the platinum credits.
The room credits, yeah.
Yeah, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah.
So, and to kind of move away from stone, because it was definitely, well, I mean, you can still buy stone, I guess, but I mean, who's gonna want to buy it? Especially since you had some characters that were trying to drive up the cost of stone to kind of make it ridiculous. I mean, I just added 3 new rooms onto my player house, and it was, I want to say, maybe it cost me like $70K or something like that.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't that bad at all. But if I had bought that 300 stone from yeah, whatever. If I bought that 300 stone from Tyria, it would have been like at least double, if not triple, as expensive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I had no interest in player housing. It's just not my thing. But when I got married to Day, who she doesn't want everybody to know who she is, but everybody knows who she is. Day is Urzabet, Kerala, etc. She's all about like player housing and RP stuff, and so I had to help her. She wanted to build a house, so we did one in. She randomly wanted one in Doran. I don't know why, but that's where it is. And then I had to find a bunch of stone for her because she obviously has no way to get stone because she just role plays. And she was also very mad that they even switched it from credits, like we talked about in chat. She's like, it's so dumb that I can't just spend credits. And I'm like, yeah, probably, but that's just the direction they want to take the game. But I managed to find someone, I forget their character name, but it was someone really nice. It was a friend of a friend, but he basically had an old alt he didn't really play, and he randomly had 1,700 stone in his cash. And sold it to me for like 200,000 gold or something.
Damn.
And so we have like 17 rooms in our house or whatever, and that's enough for me.
Yeah.
But I like that they're finally doing something about a thing that is obviously a common complaint, and it's not just like people getting like 1 or 2 people getting upset. It's like everybody believes this is kind of dumb. So. It's an improvement.
I mean, I guess I didn't quite understand the whole reasoning behind having like using stone to build the actual rooms, but then any like additions you wanted to put in it cost credits. Like I don't know. I like the magical stuff. Okay, yeah, like I get that. But I mean, I figured that if you're going to change something from credits to be this, this certain commodity, why not just make it that commodity? Why split it into 2 separate things?
Yeah.
It just, why not just streamline it? I mean, and platinum credits seem to be, the way that the better way to do things now, because I mean, you can buy all these, room additional stuff like privacy or fight pit or whatever, with bound credits. So and now you can spend those platinum credits to get room stuff. So I mean, it just I think it's a step in the right direction.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's something. Even it's like one of those things that even if it's not perfect, it's still a good step for sure.
Right.
It's definitely a good stopgap at the very least. And yeah, I'm glad people got that change. And one thing I'm biased because I have an absurd amount of gold. But one thing we could talk about is the artifact auction. Hopefully that's coming up soon.
I knew Tet was gonna say something because I woke up this morning to a DM where he said that it was just one, like releasing one item, you know.
Oh, did you? I don't know how much you pay attention to the official Discord, but yeah, Tier mentioned
Not
one of
really.
the Tier mentioned one of the new items in the artifact auction the other day. It was like a weapon rune that you can attach to a thrown weapon, and then like you can throw it an extra room or whatever. Which is it's cool to have like a new thing in the game, but I'm not gonna lie, that seems kind of it's like something I would probably never use because I told them in the chat that me and you were like had just tested. Remember when we tested javelins the other night?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me being able to throw a javelin 3 rooms away as opposed to 2 is not going to solve the fact that javelins take like 4.5 second balance. So
Right. Yeah. Plus, it's got to be like those, I don't know, uh, adjacent rooms or whatever. So you could have like 3 rooms in a line. So like, great, it'd be fucking perfect for that one time we get a major in, Sedive Cove. As long as we have, 20 other people also
yeah,
throwing javelins.
I will say that it was fun. Like again, this happened like before you started playing again, but like around when I made the character and I was doing lessers and majors a lot, I had zealot class for a little while. I've since forgotten the class and I learned monk instead, but when I had zealot and shadow was like targeting me first a lot because I was newer and smaller and stuff, I started like going outside the room of the lesser and like using Lance. There's a range skill in psionics called lance,
Mm-hmm.
and it has a really cool death message too. Like you blow a hole in the middle of them or whatever if you get a kill shot. But I think even it had like a lower cooldown than like 4.5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember though, but throwing stuff into the room can be cool. It's just like you have to have all these things line up for it to be useful, and it just doesn't line up for throwing weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin, that's true. Maybe it would work well with hammer throw. That's a good point.
Yeah, I feel like that. Like, I don't know. There's so much stuff for throwing. Uh, like even in weaponry, they have like returning and all that shit on. And I feel like that unless you're a class that uses that, like specifically, like I'm assuming Wayfarer uses it, but really there's no class that uses thrown stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I guess I don't know. The only thing I could think of would be maybe like having daggers for Sisson that they can throw. I mean, I guess that would make sense.
But Sisson can
For
also
maybe
shoot
some
bows.
right for some future class lead thing. I don't know, but
Yeah, I know what you mean. And there's like a lot of things like that in Aetolia. They're like, wow, this feature would be really cool if X, Y, and Z lined up. If you know.
yeah, as soon as we see throwing daggers, we're gonna get people wanting to change them into kunai.
Of course.
Right, then we're gonna
Just
see
just like the
Zaven's gonna
time
be
that
dipping.
Benedicto wanted a katana.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but I remember hearing something on a web once or something on Discord about Benedicto wanted to be able to make a katana, and I guess he couldn't or something.
I don't know the different types of cultures that are like in Aetolia now. I don't know. Some of them kind of make sense. Some of them I don't really agree with. So I'm not really a huge fan of like kimonos being in Aetolia.
Right? Yeah.
But
Oh, was that what it
yeah.
was? Okay. Okay.
So I mean, because like if crafters, I think the other day just got, or not the other day, but like maybe a couple weeks ago, like Baku posted something about like you can't use like a Baroque style or something, like in terms of crafting, because that's like specific to like I don't know some Eastern European or something like style.
Yeah.
But it's like what a weird stance to take on something like that when you have kimonos in the game.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, it's like there's already some weird exotic stuff in the game like that, but so it's like why not have this other weird exotic stuff too? Like
right.
I don't know if you've ever looked at it, but if we players like me who have Dwamvi or whatever, you can use show tells. Have you ever seen what a show tell is? Like the weapon that's
Yeah.
show tell? That's a crazy looking weapon. It's like a crescent moon, basically, that you swing at people.
Right, it's like an Egyptian weapon.
Yeah. So, like, I don't see why we couldn't have, like, katanas if we can have shotels. Personally, but... Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but that's also a weird thing with how weapons and Templars work together, too. It's like different weapon types used to have different bonuses, and now it's just weapon classes. So, like, a short sword is the exact same functionally as a long sword. So there's no way to, like, for them to ever be like, okay, a shotel was designed to get around a shield in real life, but yet it doesn't do that in Aetolia just because it's functionally the same as like a trident or a longsword.
Yeah, I mean, actually that was probably like one of the forging changes that I've really liked since coming back is that weapons are pretty much like purely cosmetic,
Right.
in terms of because like back in the day, like if you wanted to have stuff for speed or be a speed knight or whatever, it was like rapiers all the way,
Right.
and then long swords, and then scimitars, but nobody ever used stuff like short swords or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think it added a lot of like customization in terms of
Yeah, there's good and bad to it. I think there's a little bit of both.
So,
yeah.
and I mean, and my character doesn't do the two-hander thing at all. I mean, Sorian has never been a two-handed wielder sort of dude. He's always just done the one-handed swords. So
Yeah, there's not a lot of us that use two-handed weapons in Templar. I think of the people that are active right now, the only two I can think of that ever use them is me and Benedicto. I've seen Benedicto. He doesn't use it a lot, but he has a named two-handed bludgeon. I think it's called Keelhaul or something like that. It's like a giant anchor.
oh, nice.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah, no, Saber uses a two-handed bastard sword too, and
does
like
he?
a
Okay.
fucking truck. Yeah,
I haven't seen him on a while. I forgot about him.
Yeah, let's actually see how. Oh, it's only been 21 days.
Yeah, what's really handy is that I don't know if some people know this, but you can actually last log in your mentor or your proteges. That's always fun. I like to check on my mentor sometime, Lexon, just to see if Lexon's ever logged on randomly.
I haven't seen Lexon since I came back.
Yeah, so. Here I'll show the stream. Sad times. I liked playing with Lexon. I know we have beef in character, but I really like the player quite a bit. We're friends.
Yeah, same. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that Lexon's probably not coming back.
Yeah.
At least for a while.
At least, like, not to get into their life too much, but they're basically having a really good time in real life now and don't need Aetolia right now. So.
Which is good. Great.
Right, exactly.
I'm actually super stoked for them.
Yep.
So, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was that new announced post about the treaty stuff.
Yeah.
So it looks like that they're kind of like pushing back towards having a war system very slowly.
Right.
So, which I kind of like the idea that that now like the war system is like pretty much RP.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I did like a whole huge militia overhaul to the Anorian war system right before I became a herald, which I had a lot of help from Aisling. So they were like, I don't know, super instrumental in making that happen.
Well, I think that person was the person that had redone it before you, too.
Right. So I think that I originally, like, when I took over Minister of War, I kind of saw, like, a little bit of what they were doing, and then I was like, ooh, this is actually a really great idea. Yep. And then I just, like, I spent, like, a month, like, working on everything and, like, coming up with these different battalions and stuff like that. And I like that that the minister, or that the war ministry now is kind of like pretty much a uh, like just an RP ministry. There's no like
Yeah.
mechanics to it,
Right.
which is great because back in the day, I mean, you have these certain characters like Haven who are just like, oh man, we got to go to war, we got to fucking kill shit, and I'm like, do you not remember how much of a slog going to war was? Like, you log in, you got to find somebody with a war banner, or you got to have one yourself, and it's just like, dude.
Yeah.
I do not want to go back to the old war system. It was a nightmare.
Yeah. 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 Well, I don't know. I honestly wish there was a war. Like I know it's not the war system specifically, but like people have all these fame lines and cool stories to tell from previous wars that like some people like myself missed, and it's like, man, I wish I had some kind of like experience like that. But then these same people who got to do all these cool things were like, oh, it really wasn't that good, it was just toxic and griefing and blah 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 blah. But like, to me, the alternative is like, I would rather try and deal with that than just sit here like I am in the client and do nothing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's been really quiet like this whole last week. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
been logged into Aetolia, but I've just been like having my router go. Just for like otherwise, they'll just end up sitting there because there's really nothing going on. And then in my other window, I've been playing WoW this whole last week, so I can look back at Aetolia and be like, oh wow, it's been 3 hours and I've not had a single tell or have anybody
Right.
talk on any channels. So it's like, how much as players do we want to put into this environment or this community that we're trying to build? Because I feel like that we get people that like really dive heavy into it, like when they first create characters, and
Mm-hmm.
they look like super promising and you interact with them, and then they just kind of vanish. So I mean,
Yep.
we've had like a handful of people like in Anorian that I think are still on my ally list, and I mean they were great. Like we went to Lester's together, and we hung out and we talked a lot, and now I guess they're busy in real life, like, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it seems like that we have a like we kind of have like that roller coaster of activity, that we're like people
Yep.
play really hard for a lot, and then they just get burnt out.
Well, and
So
it's like some people too. Like, there's those of us that are obviously heavily invested or have been invested for like over a decade or whatever, and we're always going to be able to like sit here and just be like, okay, well, I'm going to hang out here, and even though there's nothing to do, I'm still going to hang out and try to wait for something to do or whatever. But then there's people that are just like, they don't leave because they're mad or pissed or anything. There's like nothing to do, so they're like, well, I'll just go do something else, like they're just not invested sometimes, like we are and whatnot. So
yeah,
it's like that. There was that person in Templar, Rylock. I really liked talking to him and getting to know him, and he was doing pretty well. And now he hasn't been on in like forever, like almost immediately after I mentored him. Well, it hasn't been forever, but like you can see in the client there, it's been almost a week. But I don't
yeah,
know. Maybe he just found something else to do.
yeah. I mean, it definitely seems like that most people nowadays just log in just to AFK, which
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much to do class leads,
Yeah.
or to like to get their vote weight up, which I'm not a huge fan of. And I think that Lynn has mentioned it a couple times, or Earthcrusher has mentioned it a couple times, that it would be nice to have like like an AFK like list or something that flags you as AFK. Like like if
Right.
like you can put yourself on that list, and it'll either turn your tells off or have like an auto reply that says I'm daydreaming right now or whatever. Or, I mean, I was just thinking about it the other day because like I think I'd gone AFK and WoW, and it just put like a little away like next to my name or whatever.
Yeah.
So or you just have like an AFK list that you can just put yourself on it and just just check that list and it'll show you as away.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can sit on it and actually be away, or you can sit on it and not be away, or whatever.
Yeah, it would be nice. And I know that like in ancient times when I was a teenager and played other muds and stuff, that they had AFK flags and statuses back then. You just type AFK, and then like anytime you received a tell or whatever, it would automatically tell them your AFK response or whatever that you had set, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I know that the funny thing is like Empyrean used to kind of handle AFK a little differently back in the day when I played. This was probably still 10+ years ago, but if you were somebody that made people mad and they had like PK reason on you, if you sat AFK even in your own city, you were probably gonna die. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. And my own personal brain remembers that. So that's like if I'm standing in my shop like I am right now in game, I'm standing there fully aware because I know that like a Sisson or anybody else could walk in here because there's no security at all. We don't even secure. None of the cities waste gold on monoliths for the whole city anymore, so they can just come in and mess with you. Like a Sisson could like mess with me right now if they were so inclined. So if I go FK, I usually go to my house in Doran behind a closed door that they can't prism into. That's what I do when I go AFK. But I don't like going AFK too much in Aetolia. Like if I feel like I'm gonna go AFK for a long time, I'll just quit off usually. Like I don't know. Everybody's different about that though.
Yeah, I definitely did not enjoy being a security minister or security aide when I was in Spines Reach and having to replace all those fucking monoliths when
Oh
they were
yeah.
all decayed. That was just an absolute nightmare.
I think security can like replace like a bunch of monoliths. I think they have some kind of command system now where they can replace a bunch all at once from the
Right.
stockpile that exists in the
Yeah.
city. But yeah, back in the day on Aetolia and in Empyrean, like if you were like security and had to replace sigils, you were walking around the whole city trying to get into people's like stock rooms and trying to wrangle them to being on to let you in their stock rooms and stuff like that. I also Sidon, I agree with you about the whole auto response thing. It was just kind of like a example of what I'd seen back in the day on other games. It's already. I mean, I guess it's weird, but not weird that we already get like an auto response when we message someone. But messages are usually out of character, although not always.
Oh yeah. I think my return message is OOC. So
Yeah.
just because I feel like that if I was to make something like in character, it would probably be just edgy as fuck. And I kind of like I don't have any more room for that. I think I'm at capacity for edge.
Yeah. You're all edged up, man.
Yeah.
Every time the past year that I lived with Erzabet, every time we were sitting around and I mentioned that I was edgy or something, she would literally laugh out loud at me. She's like, "You are not edgy." I'm like, "Whatever, man." And then I'd send her a picture of a lion wearing armor because that's what I do.
Is a lion wearing armor edgy?
The armor's edgy. It's sharp. It's got like pointy
Oh,
spikes on it, man.
gotcha. Some more literal edge. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, right?
No.
What do you mean? Oh man,
Are
maybe
you
I'm not
serious?
edgy. No, I'm fucking
Oh,
with you.
okay. I was like, God damn.
uh, Yeah, I think we've generally we've talked about a lot of the stuff that's happened recently, and I know that in here me and Steve are both Spirit players, obviously, but we've also both played Shadow in the past, but we don't currently play Shadow. So like if anybody ever wants to come on here from Shadow, it would be greatly appreciated so that we can get your perspective. But I just want everybody to know that I'm never gonna apologize for having like a Spirit player on with me because like that's just who wanted to come on because like I'm 100% cool with people coming on, even people that we don't like each other in the game or whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'd rather get somebody's perspective on the other side than not. um, but yeah, I'd like to hear about what's going on in Bloodlock and Sponsor Reach and stuff. It would
Does
make
it
things more
count if you
balanced.
play? I play a shadow character in my heart. So
Yeah, yeah. I will say I think I like the shadow classes in the game still overall more than I do the spirit, but I also remember some of the shadow classes the way they used to be 10, 15 years ago. Like when I could wield a scythe as a vampire, bloodborne, and hit people with 3 afflictions every 3.3 seconds. Those were the days.
yeah,
Back when Ezalor was the Bloodlock city leader, and me and him and a bunch of other people would roll around doing lessers all the time. Used to have to fight Valangar and Aisha and Benedicto back then.
yeah.
Oh, I've got DMs. Dee Dee's out in the viewer crowd and she's DMing me. She's roaring at
Yeah,
me.
roaring at you.
Yep. She
So I'm
does that.
wondering what the next mirror class is going to be.
Yeah.
So we already got mirror, Templar, mirror,
Yep.
Carnifex, which unfortunately I'm probably never going to pick up Warden because it doesn't really fit my character's RP.
Yep.
But I'm actually really looking forward to mirror Indorani and mirror Terradrim probably.
Yeah.
And I know that some people like Zaven are really looking forward to like Spirit Praenaman.
Yep. That's me.
Uh,
Me and
yeah,
Illidan for sure. We talked about this on a
yeah.
web the other night.
So
Yeah.
and
It's hard to say which one. I know they did that poll, didn't they? Asking people their opinion on what they'd like to see. Hey, thanks,
maybe
Austin.
I don't remember the specific forum thread, but I remember like kind of just giving it like a cursory glance. I think there was some speculation going around that like with those new murals inside Enorian that like lead off to, I want to say it's like 7. I don't know a whole lot about like the whole the Omi thing
Oh,
with like the
Neuromancy.
the Neuromancy and like
Yeah.
all the different chaos spears and stuff like that. I don't know a whole hell of a lot about that, but I guess it was speculated by some people that know a little bit more than about it than I do. That oh, okay, apparently they don't go anywhere. But it was kind of speculated about that maybe they would somehow tie into like a like Spirit and Durani that we'd get like rather than domination, entities, we'd get like I don't know, like Fey Ents or something like that.
Yeah, that would make
Which I
sense.
thought would be pretty cool.
Like Dreamland spirits and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce their name correctly, but there's a person that's in Ome's order, Sikeres or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Sekeres, and I've always like talked to them randomly, and I'm like in character friends with them a bit. And I was talking to them like a month ago in character, and they like showed me what they've been up to in the order, and like told me a little bit about neuromancy and stuff like that. Because that stuff happened while I was gone for the past year or whatever. And then they showed me some kind of like area that they're building or something, some kind of in character rebuild of something related to Ome. I don't know, but it sounded really cool. I was like, wow, things are getting done. But maybe that'll also have something to do with like the spirit in Dorani. I don't know. If the murals are related, it's most likely Mannies or special benign chaos demons who love flowing into shells made for them. Something Lynn said in chat.
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to say what they'll do next. I just hope I hope they kind of learn from the first mirrors that they did and like are able to like roll them out a little quicker. That's my hope.
Yeah.
And when they announced or asked people's opinions of mirrors, I was one of the like 2 or 3 people that didn't like the idea, and it's not that I'm like completely against it because obviously I'm not gonna throw a fit about something that's gonna happen anyway. But I just don't like the like. I've seen classes get homogenized in Empyrean to where like they're all basically different skins of the same thing in PvP, where it's like, oh, you do this, you gain momentum and kill them with momentum or whatever, and it's just like, I just don't like. I think one of the coolest things about classes in all the games is their general uniqueness. Like, it's way cool as an Indorani to like summon demons and have demon pets and stuff, which is vastly different than like being a Templar or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can agree with that. I think that if they're gonna do more like mirror classes, there needs to be, some good lore behind it, because otherwise, if you're just gonna release a class that's basically just a copy of another one, and it's, your answer is just, oh well, now, Spirit has access to these skills or Shadow has access to these skills, go have fun, like,
Yeah.
make sure there's RP behind it. So I mean, I would have actually like loved, I don't know, the whole idea behind like Revenant, like with like the ancient Kalsu and like the phantasms and stuff, like just seems super cool to me.
Yeah.
And like I like really would have enjoyed picking up that class, if I was a shadow player. But in terms of like spirit side, getting Warden with like the spirit, the I don't even know what they are, the symbols or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not really for me, but I understand. Like, I get
Oh,
as
the
to why that they,
simulacrum.
yeah, I get as to why they put it in like a Durin, guild of the
Right.
Sentinels. So,
Yeah. What mirror class do you think our guild would get eventually if they did it? The Templars.
mm,
Just a guess.
well, it seemed like that what they were trying to do by giving the Sciomancers Revenant was to like make it so that people could play either or,
Right.
like so they're not like so that you're not kind of like stuck in the Sciomancer guild
Yeah. So like if you're in the
as just the stat
Sciomancers,
pack.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So they want to have a little bit more freedom to where you could be like a powerful troll and join the
yeah,
Sciomancers
like
and
a
be
melee person as
a
opposed to
revenant.
just a magic
Yeah.
user. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which I think adds a lot more freedom, Plus, nowadays they're trying to I feel like they're trying to have the guilds just be for the RP because you can multi class and do them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what we'd get. I mean, honestly, I would like to potentially have maybe Indorani or I don't even know. Like, what's the class list?
Maybe they'd go the route they did with the Sciomancers and give us the Sciomancer mirror.
I would probably be okay with Sciomancer or Archivist.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I would like to have Archivist so I could Recollection and Shield spam Insect.
Yeah, I'm definitely, as somebody that played Praenum in class from like almost near the beginning of Aetolia for like 10, 12 years or whatever off and on, I definitely miss the class even after its changes, and I'd like to be able to play it again on this character. That's what I'm looking forward to. But I'm just not sure how they will do a spirit Praenum because like blood is really like tied to everything in their skill sets. So it's like, do you keep it as blood in the mirror, or do you like change it to something else like life force or something like that, or essence? You know,
Yeah. Spirit Juice.
spirit
Nice.
juice, like the
Yeah, I mean, I
literal
feel
blood
like,
stat.
yeah, I feel like that would actually make more sense to go for Durin. unless they were going to do something in Inorian with the Duambi and like kind of tie Spirit Ram into that.
That's a possibility. That would make sense thematically because like it's a sub race like Vampire was.
Yeah, which I don't know. From an in-character perspective, I'm not really a huge fan of the Duambi. They kind of squick me out.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to be have a symbiotic relationship with some little glowworm.
You don't want to be like Stargate?
No,
like with the
not
little...
really.
Oh man.
I've never watched Stargate, but
okay.
I guess I can kind of figure out. Yeah, no, exactly. Earth Crusher pretty much got it right. So, and I think Aestia just underwent the Duambi ritual, or she was going to.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, which is weird because I was trying to tell her, I'm like, hey, listen, like, you know, you got to pretty much change your RP now to, I don't know, let's see exactly what the file says. Intelligent, not communicative.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's actually like because I already did it like a long time ago, and the way it was explained to me is that it doesn't necessarily change your personality. Like you just become one basically. It's really weird. Like there's obviously different opinions on it and stuff and whatnot, but the
right.
role play it opens
it's not
up
gonna
fun,
like.
though.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not gonna like drastically, change it. Like suddenly,
Yeah.
Like suddenly becoming Duambi is gonna make Sarayan want to wear a shirt, but
wow,
Jesus Christ,
that escalated quickly, Lynn.
That's actually how they insert the Duambi.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
This is why it's such a closely guarded secret.
Oh boy. That's why there's always light coming out of our butts.
Right? Yeah. They're called the Illuminati for a reason. Oh, Illumini, sorry.
Praise be the light and all who reach for it. That reach for our butts. Illuminati.
Jesus.
Nice. Now this channel's popping off. Yep. We've reached the typical Twitch moment where we just talk about butt stuff. For sure. Wow, man. You've got all the killer things.
Right.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna see real quick. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm gonna see how to set up the giveaway. I actually did it earlier when nobody was in here but me, and then I ended it, and I think there's a button to reopen it. The way the giveaway system works on here, by the way, guys, like I'm using the one that's built in the Stream Elements, and it's tied into channel points through Stream Elements. But what I'm doing is I'm gonna make each ticket cost like a bazillion channel points, but then also have each first ticket be free, so that everybody can just have one ticket for free. And we're going to see if that works, because I don't know. I didn't have anyone in here to test it with, so I'm going to click reopen and see what happens. So what do? I don't know. I clicked reopen. Let's see if it what it does here. You might have to. Let's see here. Let's see what happens when people type exclamation giveaway. Somebody do that in chat. Thanks for the follows, everyone. I guess you have to go to click that and then do it on there. Everybody who goes there, it says like how much points the ticket is, but it's also set to where the first ticket is free. So just try to buy one ticket and see what it does.
Oh, I guess I have to sign up for this.
Oh, I don't know. Do you?
Yeah.
Well, crap.
I don't know. I don't know what Stream Elements is.
It's just like a website that helps you kind of like enhance your Twitch stream. Well, crap. I didn't know people were going to have to log in. Okay, it says 2 tickets are purchased. Oh, it's
you can
showing me
log
the
in with
user
Twitch?
list.
Okay.
Can you? Okay, that's
on.
cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I guess I didn't click far enough.
Yep. It shows me the recent entries as they get updated too here, so that's cool. I think what we have to do is everybody who wants to be in the giveaway does that, and then once we're ready to pull the giveaway, I just hit close giveaway and then roll for it or whatever. So we'll do that a little later. And then if for some reason someone enters the giveaway and then they're not here when I pull the giveaway or whatever, I'll DM that Twitch name, and then you can get back to me with your character name, and I'll transfer the credits to you. What are we giving away again? I'm giving, well, I mean, it could be, because I'm going to give away 50 of my own credits to whoever wins, and then like if you're like you and you're not playing Aetolia right now, you could get the credits and then give them to Steve, and then maybe that's enough for his, night of hot loving, as it were.
50 credits is pretty low for a night of hot loving. I mean, maybe
really, what's your
loving.
what's your standard? Like, what's your price? Like,
4 hours.
We gotta know.
I mean, I'll have to run it by Kate and see what the going rate is.
So she's the one calling the shots here. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
She sure is.
Got it. It's good to know. Let's see who all's on right now. Oh man, 13 people are hidden from me. That's unfortunate. But yeah, we don't really have. I know that me and you were like, or you had asked me before, Steve, that you're like, oh man, how long are we going to do this? I don't really know. We can go ahead and wrap it up now if you guys want, or we can talk about some other stuff. But it's not like the podcast. We can just do whatever we want. If you guys want to go for the day, and we could come back next week, that's fine with me.
I don't mind going for a little bit longer.
Okay. Who are all these characters and what do they do? Well, all the ones that are in bright red are the ones that I hope come to lessers that don't. I'm just kidding. Yeah, those are my enemies, Lynn. My enemy list. Big oof. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm just messing with you guys. I know that not everybody wants to come all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I do, in fact, have no allies. Well, I have allies. It's just... There, you can see my allies list if you want. It's just none of them are logged in right now.
Wow. All right, bro.
What?
I'm logged in right now.
Are you? I don't see you on who, though. So it doesn't... Okay. You don't show up.
I think it's because I'm using a chameleon right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the plebs that only has, I don't have any of the ally expansion artifact powers, so, I've got my 19 allies right now. Divine Sight. That's like level 20 goggles, isn't it, Sidon?
Yeah. Yep. Man, how much longer do we have until Orrery's over? I absolutely cannot stand
Isn't it
Orrery.
like 15 of them or whatever?
I think it's 16.
16, and it's been attuned 13 times now, so probably like what? Another day or
12,
so?
12 more hours.
Something like that.
Yeah. So I know that they were talking about them, or Kirok had coded around the globe holder having a max of 2 celerity now.
Yep.
I don't know if there was like an announce for that or a change log, but
I think it was announced on the forums. I think I saw somebody say that earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was actually posted. I can't remember.
Hmm.
But yeah, I know that earlier, before I started the stream, me and Riot were talking and out of character tells, and he said he like started by saying, "Oh, like you guys win all the Ori battles or whatever," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for the free commodities, especially the stone." Um,
Right.
and then he's like, well, but bug abuses or whatever makes us not want to come as much or something, and I'm like, okay, like I just didn't even respond because I don't know what that means. I've never
What bug
abused.
abuse?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I know there was the thing that Valeria had done. I think with
Oh, really?
the shifter quietus, it like she got hit or something, and it showed her as being a corpse.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that what
and like,
Quietus is
but
supposed to do?
right, yeah, but it wasn't triggering her to drop the globe or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So she
Okay.
wasn't targetable.
Hmm.
Because I
Yeah, that
think
is
that
creepy.
Yeah. So I think that with quietus, like somebody has to actually physically they have to type get corpse or whatever, and then it'll pop you out of it.
Yeah.
Uh, but if they try to attack you, it won't register or something. I don't know. It
Yeah.
was weird, but basically that got changed. So, and I mean, I feel like that over the course of combat, people are going to come up with new and inventive ways to try and give them an edge,
Mhm.
which I feel like is nothing against the player base. Like we're just kind of like I don't know. You have people like Salts and Jezreth and Valeria and Valerie who are always fiddling with new things to see if something works. And I think that is more of a testament to the inventiveness of Aetolia's community rather than just jumping to bug
Right.
abuse because we want to be assholes towards the other side.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, and like I can say, and this is actually a good thing too, is that like I submit a lot of bugs, and I get a lot of the bugs that I submit get fixed. Um, but like here lately, in the last few, couple months or whatever, they've been getting fixed a lot faster than normal, and I think that's a great thing, and I think that's a lot of the Solani that they've hired in the last few months, because I think it stands to reason that at least some of them that have recently started volunteering have code access and can fix things and stuff. So good on them for fixing things.
yeah.
We really appreciate it. I would be much happier if there was no bugs. I don't like when people abuse bugs. Uh, like I've mentioned before to people recently in a web, I think I was talking to Valerie about this. Is like, there's been times where I've seen people in our city on our side abuse bugs, like during events and stuff, like holiday events and stuff. And I'll message Tier and be like, hey, this is people are abusing this, and I know some people are like, "Oh, that's you're being a tattletale," but I would rather the bug get fixed than to not get fixed because I don't think it's fair. I don't know when people do things that aren't intended. It's very abusive and lame. I don't know. That's my opinion, but I try not to issue people for it when I see it because like most people are gonna like see a bug and like I'd say about half of them are probably gonna abuse it, but I still don't want people to get banned for something that I don't know. It's hard to explain. Maybe they should get punished. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't think that's my call, so I don't really issue them for it. So
Yeah. I think I've actually submitted my fair share of bugs too,
yep.
and most of them have all gotten fixed. So
There's my current bug list for people that want to see it. Obviously, can't see the whole bugs, but bug list used to be much bigger. And a lot of them are typos too, because I'm a stickler for people like I don't like typos, and I like when things are capitalized correctly and stuff like that. Yeah, I generally agree with that too, Austin. But like, it's weird. Like, if I had my druthers, as it were, regardless of side, if I report somebody abusing a bug, yes, I think they should get punished. Will they? It's not my call. It's the administration's call. And typically, their opinion is like, if you report something without issuing, then they're probably not going to punish. That's been my experience. Welcome back there, Keegan. AKA Eliadon. I think you pronounce it that way. Like I'll give probably the oldest on this character example of what I'm talking about. I won't name names. And this will be probably interesting to you too, Steve, because you weren't playing when this happened. It was holiday event, October of 2019, shortly after I made the character. They had a Halloween event going on that involved spiders. And I think anybody could do this, right? And there was a vendor where if you had enough currency, I think it was, you could buy a thing that spawned more spiders to gain more currency. So if you had enough currency, you could infinitely spawn these spiders and kill them for more currency, right? I think some of these people probably remember the spider event. Well, I saw people on my side farming the spiders because like when you killed the spiders, they could spawn mists. So you could just keep infinitely spawning spiders and killing them for free for mists. And that probably wasn't intended. And that's also a similar bug to what got fixed recently that I had submitted forever ago and people won't know this unless they did farming, but if you use slaughter on a cow, because like you're trying to kill a cow to get the leather or whatever, uh, even though it gives 0 experience, sometimes you would get mists from that too. So have to be careful with that. Don't want people having the ability to infinitely generate gold via mists. Probably not a good idea.
I mean, what was the mist rate on that? Like, was it like 1 out of every 10 cows? Or?
The cows probably like 1 per field, but in regards to the spiders, I don't know about the spiders. I just know that there was people that were legit like there was a lot of people doing it and getting the mists from it, and I felt like someone should say something before everybody had like thousands of research tokens and then like infinite gold, you know?
Yeah.
We can look that up right now, Austin. I can show that on the screen. Let me switch to our clan here. Actually, let's see if it's... There's one of these organizations I'm in that tell you. What? Where is it? One of the organizations have a help file that shows you how much gold you get per mist. I can't remember which one it is.
Is it in the city?
Is it? Okay.
Hold on, I'm checking the real index.
Here. It might be missed quota. I'll look at that one. There it is. There it is. It's right there.
Is it a C help file?
It's C help missed quota. It's at the bottom there.
Okay.
So as you can see, even getting the lowest one is like 25 gold per infinite spider that you could spawn. There was people that could sit there and bought that over and over and over and over. But anyway. No, Austin. That's literally everybody that turns in mists goes to the Barracan, and that's what he gives you per mist, regardless of your city. It's just that in Orion here we happen to have it written down in a help file, but that's the same thing for every city. Yeah, you should turn your mists in. It's worth a lot of gold.
Dude, that Eld glyph was like totally worth it.
Oh yeah, the Eld glyph, the glyph of the Eldicathai or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep, right there. It's an awesome one. It sucks to spend like 300 credits on that, but then once you start using it all the time, you're like, yeah, this is totally worth it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Chaos Squid, it does. That's what I'm saying. what each color mist is worth is right here on the screen. I'll highlight it a bit. The most I've ever turned in, I don't remember. I did paste this, I think, to you or Issy or something, Steve, but I'll tell them. The most mist I've ever saved up was like 8,500, and I turned it in.
God.
Yeah, I turned it in, and I think it was like 219,000 gold or something like that. But I had done it at the time because like I was trying to not turn the quota over so that I could get my new amulets when they decayed, because we happened at the time to have red and white both. And I was like, well, if I turn this in, we won't have red and white both anymore. So I just kept saving and saving, because I can generate, like we've talked about before, I can generate like 1,000 mists a day from fracture and stuff like that. So I waited like a week. It was like a week. I was like, but I think my amulets are going to decay in a couple days.
Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, I have 1 week left on him. Oh no, he's running away. It's just me and you, chat. Let's talk about him. How do you think he's been doing? Probably a lot better than me, huh? I wish. Oh, I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I think if you put amulets in a stockroom floor, they still decay. But I don't remember. Let's see who all signed up still. Man, only 5 of you have signed up for the credit giveaway out of the 8 viewers in here. Oh man. I guess that's good for those of you that signed up. More chances to win. I actually have some stuff that doesn't have a lot of use, but I just save it in my stockroom. Like, I have some of those like Easter things from 2020 when we did the egg hunt and the treasure hunt and stuff. I have some of those things saved in my stockroom, just because it's nice to be able to like save them, and be like, oh yeah, I did that, you know. Well, that's nice and fair of you there. Appreciate that. You have a non-decay sunflower. Where did you get that at? I have a flower cache. How the hell? I don't even know how to view it. I can't remember. Oh, you gotta do it like that, huh? Flower list. That's what it is. Look at my flower cache. All 2 flowers. Look at that. I wish I still had a flower pot. That's one thing I've never... Because I remember... I think I got the flower pot for free on my shadow character from back when, during Christmas time, they would have Ironbeard randomly come give you random stuff in your room and then leave. Hey, you're back.
Yep, I'm back.
Cool.
All right. Oh, I was going to mention, I don't know what you guys were talking about while I was gone.
You, obviously.
Nice. Class leads are going on right now.
Thank Dee. Thank you for the follow, Dee. So yes, class leads. We can talk about class leads. I know it's kind of a sore subject for some people, or a controversial one, but here we go. Let's get into it.
I was actually going to submit a class lead for Templar, but I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm doing something wrong with the class, but right now the way that it stands is that you pretty much need like the endurance and the willpower artifact in order to bash for any extended period of time,
Mm-hmm.
like by having auras up. So like I don't currently have like owl or moon tattoo because I need them for like I need those spots for other like PvP stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'll get through like one run of Zanhal and my endurance is like already like dipping into the yellow. So
Damn.
yeah. So what I would have done is I'm still debating on like trying to figure out the wording for it,
Mm-hmm.
but having redemption aura restore endurance and willpower based on the current health of the target, because currently that's like I guess disabled. Like it doesn't proc off
Mobs or whatever.
NPCs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it only does it off of PvP. So
Yep. Well, yeah. Yeah, it does. You're right. Let's see here. The effect, it says the effect will be weaker for denizens and will not include endurance and willpower. Yeah. Yep.
yeah. So, which I think is just a little silly that you need to drop 500 credits into a class to like actually bash with it,
Right.
and I mean that goes for any class. So,
Yep. Yep. I see. The thing is like you said that the when they dropped the mirror in, they just like I don't know if they even posted that they changed the drains and stuff on the auras, but yeah, it's noticeable. Even for me, like even before the mirrors, I had just went ahead and got endurance and willpower artifacts. So like I didn't notice it as much or whatever. But what I have noticed is the mana drain is higher. It's about double what it used to be. So and
yeah.
that's kind of poopy. Yeah, Sidon's saying you should like switch mastery because there is that small blade mastery that like decreases how much endurance you use.
Yeah, but I
I don't
mean,
know how useful it is though.
if it was just endurance, I would say that's probably viable. But it's definitely willpower too.
Right.
So, and it's funny because I only noticed the endurance willpower drain after mirrors were released. So, like pre mirrors, there really wasn't any. I never had any problems. So they must have tweaked some code like behind the scenes before before they released this.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Uh,
What does your audit say? With auras up.
okay, so that's the funny thing is that if you have auras up, it
I should
doesn't
probably
show up.
def up.
It doesn't show up on audit.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'll
there's
show
no
them
way. There's
after I
no way
def
to
up.
know. So I mean, I might include that in my report uh, to put the willpower drain or endurance drain in your audit if you have blessings and auras up. But I mean, I think currently my oops. It would help if I could spell endurance correctly. My
See,
willpower.
I have the blessings and the aura up, and as you can see on audit, it doesn't show anything.
Okay, yeah. So my willpower audit is a net regen at 56, and my endurance is a net regen of 62. So, and that's with both the endurance and the willpower artifact.
Yep, they're all saying it's a
Oh,
bug, and you should bug
oh
it.
no! I wasn't gonna specifically put a class lead on that. I was just gonna add that in my class lead.
Ah, gotcha.
Hey, if we're gonna fix redemption, also,
Yeah.
also have it. I'm not sure exactly what got broken. As far as I know, they didn't really touch anything from righteousness. But I remember that like pretty much the whole blade fire skill set was like entirely useless for like 3 or 4 days. Hmm. I guess at the time I wasn't playing Templar enough.
Yeah, I already did my one class lead. I like wrote it up and submitted it. I'm once again going to try and get them to fix blade charging.
Oh, are you still Satan? Are you still getting Templar messages. Like to this day, because it's been a couple months since Mirrors came out. Mm.
Yeah, I know there was a weird bug that I had submitted because this was like a couple weeks ago. I was at a lesser and I had protected Jezreth, and I used Unity, which hardly any of us even bother to use because it has a forever cooldown or whatever. But I just, I was like, what the hell? I'll pop it for this lesser. So I used Unity. And then when you use Unity, it shows up on cooldowns on this command here. But whenever it wore off and had the cooldown on there and whatnot, it was showing up as like manifestation whatever for me. It was really bizarre. And then not only that, but when I tried to use it again while it was on cooldown, it gave me like a message about like, it gave me the Revenant message basically about my entity or whatever the hell it is. That I was like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
And then they fixed that, I think, within like a day or two. Definitely some weirdness going on with the mirrors, but that's to be expected, I suppose. In all honesty, it could probably have been worse. Yep. Good old Wayfarer. I like playing Wayfarer every once in a while. It just, what I need to do, and I could afford it right now, but I need to get one of those weapon magnets so I don't have to keep making new weapons when I switch class.
Alright, just submitted that bug to have that stuff show up on audit. At least now I can just reference it in my class lead.
Yep.
So let's see what some of the other reports are.
I wonder, speaking of, because side ends like Aldrin should show up in audit. Let's see if Blade Fury shows up in audit. I will try that real quick. Because I know that it shows up in audit willpower, as you can see here. But I wonder if it just shows up in normal audit. It does. Okay, cool. Wasn't sure. Blade Fury is one of those skills that, like, I feel like a lot of people forget to even use most of the time.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever used it. Because like I don't really 1v1 very much, if at all.
Yeah.
And then people tend to die too quick at lessers, so it's kind of pointless to keep up.
Yep.
So I mean, maybe you could use it for like the twin Foki, but I don't know. I kind of die a little bit too quick at those two. So.
Yep. Yeah. They. Yeah. When they changed blade charging drastically in April of 2020, like blade charging is basically a complete non-factor at group battles now. Like, which is weird to me, and that's always the problem I've had. Like, there's been no middle ground on it. It's like before the change, it was like blade charging was probably too strong, but then they're just like, let's just get rid of it completely. I'm just like, whoa,
Right.
Okay. But my solution that I submitted was that, like, at least for two-handed blades, because that's what I use or whatever, is because like the problem when they changed it was because people were complaining that I was basically hitting them for like half their health because I could pre-charge blade charge.
Right.
And so I was doing a lot of damage or whatever. But the thing is like, how do you go from doing a lot of damage to doing like no damage at all with your blade charge?
Yeah.
Like that's just. And if your complaint too is that like, well, you shouldn't be able to pre-charge it, Yeah, but there's like 3 or 4 other classes I can think of that still are able to pre-charge their thing.
Right, like monk. Yeah,
Monk, shaman, you know.
yeah,
Hell, wayfarers have a skill that is for pre-charging the Fury
yeah.
Consume. So I just think that the ham-fisted change of like, oh, you can't use it at all now was a little too strong.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely agree
yeah,
with
they
that.
do, Austin. Like all the time, anytime Iceling comes to a lesser, or even Benedicto when he's using monk, they're like spamming
Or
roundhouse.
chastity.
Yeah,
Always
chastity too.
running in Kai deliverance.
Yep, you can build up Kai ahead of time. You've always been able to. Both sides can do that. Um, Shamans can literally build up their energy ahead of time, whatever it's called. I think it's just called energy. Again, Wayfarers can have full fury when you walk into the room. On and on and on. But there's also, I know that there's some of our monks that use, some of them use Roundhouse, but then some of them use Slam into Cura as well to generate. They'll use that. They'll use Slam if it's like one person they're building off of, or Roundhouse if it's a group.
I want to say the Ace-Ling only does roundhouse if we're like about to get like a push,
Mm-hmm.
just to generate it real quick. Otherwise, they'll kind of just maintain it with slam. So
But yeah, I think that so my idea, at least for two-handed blades, is because like the problem, and this is for people, revenants too, obviously, but like if you look at mastery, you have all these different mastery talents for the different like weapon classes, and two-handed blades and bludgeons only have 2 talents, right? And overcharging's one of them. And like if you can't even use blade charge effectively in any setting with a two-handed blade or bludgeon, 1v1 or group, what is the point even of having a talent that increases your maximum blade charge? Like there's no point at all to it. And so my idea with the report that I submitted the other night was basically to, instead of it increasing your max blade charge, make it to where it increases how much blade charge you gain.
I think my understanding of armor penetration that it just lets you build that blade charge up to 1 round sooner.
Yeah, it's like you can increase your penetration and it does give you more blade charge, but it's not enough to matter, honestly. Because the problem is like again, I could pre blade charge, or I could even not pre blade charge and just have blade charge from killing someone, and then on the next person I could use it right away. But like now you can't do that either. You only have one amount of blade charge per target, and it always starts at 0. So it's like really pointless because if I get 1 to 2 attacks on someone before they die at a lesser, I might have 90 blade charge, and if you use like a crescent with 90 blade charge, that's probably like 200 magic damage, if that. Like it's a pitiful amount of damage. It doesn't do anything. And then Vorpal, regardless of what blade class you use, small or large, Vorpal always takes 140. So, I don't know. Yeah, but like I know that people are complaining about how much Crescent does at max charge. I get that, but why was the solution okay to be, well, you can't use any of it at all now? Like that's just the problem I
Right.
have with it.
Yeah, it's like you went from just one extreme to another.
Yeah, and it
So
just annoys
really
me.
no
I don't
middle
know.
ground.
Um, and honestly, nowadays, even if I could build blade charge faster, like instead of doing more damage with Crescent nowadays, I would probably just build to 140 and use Vorpal Stun into Impale at Lessers. Because you can do that. Like, if I get to 140, I can impale someone whether they're already prone or not. Because I can prone them and then impale them all in one command with Vorpal using Stun. That's probably what I would do with it. And I think that would be kind of balanced considering, people can easily disperse you out of Impale, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, Sidon. There was a while there where I was trying to use it like if I was at like 80 or 90 blade charge or more, but when you use a crescent at 80 or 90 blade charge, it literally isn't even worth using. Like it's just not worth using. It just doesn't do anything useful. It's not going to help you kill anyone faster at a lesser. And the reality of the situation is like if there's like an 8 on 8 at a lesser, what does it matter that we killed someone like maybe a half a hit sooner or one hit sooner? You know? Like I don't know. It's just weird. It always felt like a strange change to me, but whatever. We'll get off of it here. That's just my beef with the change. As somebody that uses the class all the time.
I was actually hoping that there were like more changes to the folky battles.
Mm-hmm.
Like the twin is like a good step in the right direction, but
Yep.
there's still a lot that's wrong with it. Like, you know, basically you pick 4 people to go in, and then you just stack like just a stupid amount of people on the outside. So it makes it very difficult to like. I mean, granted, you can just run in and enter gateway, but I don't know. Like the drawback of that is that even if you manage to kill, you know, some of the 4 people inside, you've got like 15 other people waiting outside, like to basically just come in as soon as they die. So really, it's like, you know, kind of defeats the purpose. It's just like a slightly more obnoxious lesser.
Yeah.
So
I've only done like twin, I think once or twice with you all. The actual foci inside the conjunction, is that a lesser ley line, or is it like its own type of ley line? The thing you're actually extracting.
It's its own type. It doesn't generate eld in there.
Okay, gotcha. And there's this thing because not to not to shout out this person or call them out too much, but our provost Renee, or how you pronounce her name, because she looks at the logs a lot, she didn't know that. I don't know if this is true or not, but she's like, do twins only spawn right after a lesser spawns? And I'm like, you know, I don't know, but I think that that's just been a coincidence lately.
I think when Kirok initially announced it, he said that they were supposed to spawn at least twice a day.
Yeah. And I think it's just happened a few times lately where like we do a lesser and then like immediately after a twin spawns.
Yeah. Well, Spirit Side in general has been, you know, pretty much getting their ass beat at twins just because we just don't have. I don't know. I feel like we're good in groups, you know, big groups, but we just don't have we don't have the small team, you know, coordination right now.
Right.
So just because we don't have a lot of people that do, I don't know, do enough 1v1,
right,
or like, you know, small team combat where everybody's just, you know, shows up at lessers and just hits their damage button.
Yeah.
So which you can't really do in the, you know, 4v4. So.
Yep. There's been times where I've set aside time and I'm like, okay, I'm going to improve. Because, like, you know, obviously I use Sunder, as everybody can see. And then a lot of people use Sunder. But you can go in and you can, like, change the default scripts and stuff like that. And I've done that a lot. I've done that each time for my own, like, Templar script. But every time I try to do it with a limb class, and all 3 of my other classes are basically limb classes, it's just like a nightmare. It's like there's just like, you look at the script and there's like this giant chunk of text that has to do with limbs, and it's just daunting. But I like to mess around with that stuff and dream about what it would be like to actually be good at 1v1. But in the end, like, there's just so many other things that I like to spend my time on when I'm playing and stuff. But it's definitely not my game, I don't think. But I try to do it a little bit.
I actually really appreciate the fact that Sunder even exists.
Because I think, absolutely.
Yeah, because I think before, when I quit playing, I want to say I had Mazian's CMUD system.
Wow.
And I mean, I knew how to code in ZScript, so I had a lot of fun doing that, and I could, I had my own system there for a little while. But then coming back and moving to Mudlet, like I don't know really Lua at all. And basically any of the code that I've like kind of come up and kind of tweaked myself has been looking at other triggers, other scripts, other aliases or whatever, and like kind of working backwards from that.
Me too.
So, and I mean that's really what I'm like good at. And then if something doesn't seem right, or sometimes I think the like the special characters, like the wild cards and the variables and stuff, kind of throws me off. And doing like the different matching to pick up stuff kind of throws me off too. So usually I'll ask, in like the Sunder Discord, like for help with that. But I mean, if it wasn't for Sunder, I probably wouldn't have stuck around at Aetolia for like another year.
Absolutely.
Since I've come back. I mean, just because now that everything is so like automated, just the idea of kind of having to restart from scratch and like build your own system is just an absolutely daunting task. So
it's good to have that starting point that's already got a lot of the essentials built in. Like even if you're not a class that uses limb damage, like you still have it built into Sunder if you ever want to use it or whatnot, which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if it's known outside of the Sunder Discord. There's like a combat channel in there, but the parry tracking was broken, which is going to be hopefully updated here in like the next release, whenever that is. But if anybody wants to fix their code, I can walk them through how to do that. It's like it takes literally like 30 seconds. So. But yeah, like some of the built-in Sunder roots, I really appreciate that. All the work that people have done for that. So if there's ever like any stuff that I've done, like I've made like a rupture root, and I've told ISID that if he's going to release another like Sunder update or whatever, that I'd like to add that in there, to kind of contribute. So, and it works really well. I mean, it actually tweaked that to be running. To include head and torso in the limbs hit, so that way I have like a 1 in 6 chance of hitting parry instead of a 1 in 4, and it works really really well. So
isn't there's like a couple of existing rupture things, right? I think the Ice Blast limbs one does it.
The Ice Blast one is not super great. I've fiddled with it. It's not fantastic, and I had to lower the percentage at which it uses Vorpal with trauma. And then I think the built-in Sunder limbs root isn't great either, just because it only goes through like one of those 4 limbs.
Yeah.
So, and it tends to get hung up a lot on some people who have better parrying.
Yeah, and I've always found it interesting how like we have this way to use like bludgeoning as Templar, and we have a way to kill them with rupture and stuff, but like you hardly ever see anyone, at least even in group, use it, and I hardly ever see anyone in 1v1 use it anymore either. And
Kalina does it pretty frequently in 1v1.
Yeah.
And then since I got my limb stuff fixed, I mean I've been, whenever we go limbs in lessers, like I'll whip out my flails and I'll use those. So
Gotcha. Well, I think we're winding down here, Steve, because we had 7 viewers the last little bit, and we're down to 5 now. And
what are you talking about? I'm showing we're at 10.
Really? It shows 5 on my thing here, on my activity feed in OBS. Huh? I thought maybe people were getting bored of us, and that we should peace out for a bit.
I'm seeing a lot in here.
Okay, well that's fine. Some of these are bots and stuff, like another TV viewer and the commander route and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay. We can keep going for a little bit more. I need to go probably make myself dinner soon. And I know that's a thing that you like to do here in a few hours, right? Usually.
Oh, yeah. I should probably actually get some. I think I forgot to pull out some chicken last night, so it's still semi-frozen. So I might have to put in some water.
Chicken.
But, yeah. doing buffalo chicken salad tonight.
Ooh, that sounds good.
All right, but yeah, we can wind this down,
okay.
so I can go ahead and do that. And you can go make your dinner, and I mean, I know that when, I guess based on your forum post, we kind of weren't sure if we were going to be doing this. Well, you were going to be doing it regularly, but you weren't sure if I was going to, be like a regular, spot on the show. But I mean, I don't mind doing that. This was fun. I mean, it would be something I'd be definitely interested in doing, moving forward. So I don't know what all that would entail in terms of adding like frames for like all the different people that that join in on the podcast or whatever. But
well, I think I could fit like 2 more webcams like right below ours on this layout just fine.
Yeah.
Like because there's a lot of blank space there because my monitor and stuff is actually a 4K monitor, so like I have a lot of desktop space and stuff. And but yeah, like the thing about this compared to the podcast I used to do is the podcast, I would ask Alali, I'd be like, okay, you want to do this with me? And she's like, yes. But then we set aside a day for it, and then something happens, and it's like, well, I can't do the podcast this week because like you had like a certain structure or whatever. But like with this, I can just do this by myself too. If I have to, like if you say, hey, I want to do this regularly, and then something comes up, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with like anybody who wants to come on here is fine to come on here. It's not like it's just has to be me and Steve or whatever. Anybody that has a webcam and wants me to import it in here and shoot the shit and stuff, we can do that. I mean, it is what it is. And like I said, I'd like to have more Shadow people too. There's been a bunch of you from Shadow in here in chat, which is great. But if you want to come on and talk too, that'd be cool too. You be a bad guest, you think? Why's that? Too mean? I mean, let's be fair. I think me and Steve here could be a lot meaner than we were this whole show. I mean, I can talk shit with the best of them, but I don't want to do that on here. It's not necessary. Yeah, well, the thing is like tangents are kind of bad for the podcast that we did because like with the podcast you want to stick to the interview or you want to stick to the topics that week, but with a Twitch show like this, that's the point. We can just do whatever we want. So I like tangents,
This is true. Tet could be meaner than all of us combined.
Probably. He has I think experience with running a YouTube show or channel, right? All right. Let's see here. What are we doing, guys? Are we getting out? No, we need to do our giveaway. Okay, so I'm gonna do the giveaway command one more time in chat. So anybody that hasn't entered can go to the link and sign up for it real quick. And I believe you can log in with your Twitch account that you're using in the chat.
Yeah, you can. It just takes like a click.
And so I'll give that like a couple more minutes here, about 2 more minutes. And after 2 more minutes, I'll hit the close giveaway button and we'll see what it pops up there. And I'll see if it lets me pick someone at random. I should probably be neutral party, but I'm gonna be honest. I kind of hope Tom gets it. Our new player that's been talking with us. I would rather see a new player get it, but that's me. But we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a roll of the dice.
What happens.
Maybe I should make a little animated D20 GIF to pop up when we're about to roll for it. Yeah, everybody's been asking him about that side, and I had that in my brain too because I also know Tom from Imperium. Well, I remember Tom from Imperium. I don't really know them, but Tom was a long-time war dancer in Antioch in Imperium. I'm gonna give out information. I'm gonna type Jihu because I'm curious who's on.
Oh, it's probably just me.
Me, you, Aestia. I don't even know how to pronounce her name.
Yeah,
And
I asked her.
Ashram.
Okay, I'll say this here because I don't feel like copying or typing it out in my Discord. Satan, if you go into your Sunder, then there's a miscellaneous script. There's a function called snd.no_parry. You're going to go to line 99 in the code, and you're going to change it to say if Sunder check some apps, no parry. Because currently it's set to if not, and that's basically it. You just take out the not, and it should fix the parry.
All right, guys. I ended the giveaway.
Nice.
And it shows it in chat who won. And Sidon, you don't really play, but did you retire your character? I can't remember. You did not. Okay. I just honestly couldn't remember.
Did he retire? I'm like, dude, he's the fucking.
I mean, I don't know. Oh yeah, he is. Like, I don't know. I don't honestly like. I don't pay attention to sponsors.
You can retire your character.
You're the chair, whatever,
you
man.
can't become a fucking Selene.
Listen, man. Maybe I should have read Help Spawns Reach. Let's do that right now. Chair of the Secretariat, Sidon. Okay, cool.
That's funny.
There you go. Also help archivists. Cool. Luckily for this stream and the plan to give away credits, I've been saving up credits again for like 2 months now with like no choice on what to spend them on. So I probably should get a weapon magnet though at some point. Oh, Sidon's gonna give them to Tom. How nice. That's cool. No pressure, Sidon. I didn't mean to pressure you to give it to the new guy.
Wow, I'm a new guy.
Yeah, you are. You've only been back a little while. You're still new, you know.
Yeah.
That's not like you're a bazillion years old in game or anything.
Wow.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna get out of here with that. Everybody, thanks for coming. The goal is to start doing these every Saturday, I guess, unless something changes, in which case we'll let people know. I'll do like I did this time, and we'll post it in Discord, post it on the forums, and we'll hang out and have some fun. And let's see if we can keep doing this and get affiliate. If we do get up to 50 followers, which shouldn't be too hard, you know, because Aetolia's got its own little community here already. Once we get 50 followers, we also have to stream X amount of different days of the week or whatever. And what I'll do is I'll start just in my free time randomly kicking up a stream to try and do that. Thank you for the follow. But yeah, once we get affiliate, the goal will be, you know, if people want to sub, they can sub, and then we'll start. Any money I get from it, I'll probably just spend on credits, and then we'll use the credits for giveaways and stuff like that. Well, that would be cool, Tom. I appreciate you coming, man. We love that people are playing. Like, I know you've probably played the other games, so you're not 100% new, but it's always nice to have somebody new playing Aetolia. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye, and I'm gonna hit the stop stream button, and then I'm going to. Okay, one last thing. I'm going to put the VODs of these, the recordings, on YouTube. And it's going to be on the Ankarian Archives YouTube channel, which is the old Google account for the podcast. But I figured it thematically worked because it's, you know, an archive of our videos or whatever. And I will also link that in the forum thread and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll get to work on that after we get off here. I'll get some dinner and let's go back to playing stuff. It's almost here in a few hours. It's time to do dailies. So, we'll see you next week. Goodbye, everyone.
See you later.